He has qualified inside the top 10 in all 15 starts so far in 2025. It's going to be one to watch. Quiles, aggressive coming through from the back of row 3.
So is Guido Pini, who crashed in qualifying yesterday. He goes from 10th place. There are a pair of Italians actually on the board, but right next to Guido Pini is Stefano Netta, who very nearly finished on the podium here last year with 2 long lap penalties. What can you do from P11? He's with Jack.
Yeah, Stefano, you've got brilliant form around this Phillip Island circuit. You clearly love it. Great to see you back up here fighting at the front. Ready for this one?
Thank you. Yeah, ready. It's a circuit that I love. So we are ready to fight, to enjoy. We start in a good position, so we can fight immediately and enjoy a lot.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Such a pair of polite guys, aren't they? The 658 squad, of course, that you heard about Lanetta and Netta. Best qualifying in 16 since Austin in Texas. He did set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix here last year. It did Netta, breaking Jack Miller's a 10-year-old fastest lap benchmark by well over a second.
Jacob Ralston then, who has a lot to prove in many respects at his own Grand Prix, as you can see there, right next to him, a family affair for the Ralstons on the grid, still fighting for a ride on the grid next year. Best way to go about that is by continuing on the same form that we saw from him last time out when he took his career best result. Ralston, he goes from 13th.
So Max Quiles then looking to power his way through from the back of the 3rd row in 9th place to try and strengthen this bid for 2nd in the World Championship. What a story that would be for the rookie. Let's get the thoughts of the boss, Nico de Rollers with Jack.
Yeah, and there was some very late work going on Max's bike, just adjusting the handlebars ever so slightly. Well, what happened on the warm-up lap? He's had some big crashes this weekend, so still fine-tuning things.
Today the conditions changed with a lot of wind. Now he says something to improve in the bike, and we try the little details to help him for today. But anyway, today is one day when you need to be water and to see this condition, and it's difficult situation for every rider, and also more in Moto3, but he's ready for race.
How is Max? 100% after the crash?
Yeah, he's under 100%, and today is one day to take experience.
Good luck. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much to Nico Terrell. Thanks to Jack. 5 minutes then to race start. Quiles has led in 11 of 14 Grand Prix so far this year. Expect to see him try and work his way through very, very quickly. It's a very strong and powerful tailwind down the start-finish straight here, down that Gardner straight. Slipstream always has a big effect here in Phillip Island, and with a tailwind blowing these pocket rocket Moto3 bikes down the straight, you could see riders coming from outside of the top 6 to leading at some stage into that Durham corner. Slipstream always key here, more prevalent today with such a strong tailwind down the Gardner straight.
It's not going to be an easy Grand Prix to escape it, even if you are at the front of the race, no matter what kind of pace you have. Yusei Yamanaka, unlikely he's going to be escaping away at the front of the field. He needs to get there first, coming from 16th place on the grid. Of course, badly with a long lap penalty last weekend, where he still finished inside the top 8, but of course he was battling for much of the race with Guido Pini, who of course escaped Yamanaka when he served his long lap penalty and went all the way to the podium.
Never had 5 top 10s in a row in his Grand Prix career. That's Yamanaka. That's a bit of a carrot dangling in front of the face. The 23-year-old Japanese rider. He's been consistent points in the last 12 Grand Prix, which has featured 9 top 10s, so he's been racking up the big point scoring places on occasions, climbing up to 8 in the World Championship. In front right of the grid then for this 21-lap Australian Grand Prix, Luca Lanetta flying away from the 4th front row of his Grand Prix career. Your new world champion, Jose Antonio Rueda, starts from 2nd, but a nation expects, can an Aussie deliver home success in Moto3 for the first time in 11 long years? Can Kelso be the king of the island in Moto3? Joel starts from pole.
It's his home Grand Prix, and Joel Kelso has promised to send it from pole position, his first of 2025. World champion Jose Antonio Rueda and Luca Lanetta joining on the front row. Lanetta's first front row since Aragon. It's an equal best qualifying of 2025 for Taya Perosato in 4th. He's got Matteo Batelli and Alvaro Carpe for company. Joel Esteban, who's in 4th. Dennis Foggia 7th. Career best for him ahead of Adrian Fernandez and Max Quiles. Guido Pini had a crash in Q2 yesterday. He starts 10th ahead of Stefano Neffa and Marco Morelli, who took his MLab Honda through Q1 to 12th. Jacob Ralston, Angel Piqueras and Nicola Carraro on the 5th row. From Yusa Yamanaka, Cormac Buchanan and David Almanza. 3 crashes this weekend, and he has a long lap penalty today. Ryan Uriarte, the Red Bull Rookies champion, makes his debut from 19th. He's making a debut in place of the injured David Munoz. Eddie O'Shea and Scott Ogden, the British pair next to him. Valentin Peroni returns from injury in 22nd, ahead of Noah Beckby and Luce Moodley, Techa Congo-Azri and Ricardo Rossi in 26th, who also has a long lap penalty.
Yeah, shocking weekend so far for Rossi. His worst qualifying in nigh on 4 years since Valencia, all the way back in 2021. Warm up underway then here in Australia in increasingly windy conditions. Cam Kelso conquer on the soil here. Phillip Island does tend to deliver some absolute classics in Moto3. All the way back, the last time an Australian won here in Moto3 at Phillip Island. Podium between Jack Miller, Alex Marquez and Alex Rins, still the second closest lightweight world championship podium in history. 2 of the top 10 closest lightweight world championships have been right here at Phillip Island in 1998 and 2014. 3/1000 of a second between Rins and Vinales in 2013. The 7th closest lightweight world championship finish in history. And 2018 was the 6th closest top 15 in lightweight world championship finish, just 2.1 seconds covering the top 15 riders. We tend to get some big battles here at Down Under. Let's hope we're going to get another one over 21 laps.
Interesting information from Pirelli in terms of the tyres. All the KTMs are on the SC2 medium front tyre. All the Hondas are on the SC1 soft front tyre. Rear tyre, interesting though. Vast majority have gone for the medium option rear tyre. But we have got Quiles, Pini and Adrian Fernandez towards the front, who are on the harder rear tyre.
Yeah, 2 of those, Fernandez and Quiles, are on that 3rd row, 8th and 9th respectively. A little bit beaten up is Quiles. It was a real cage rattling crash he had on Friday at the hay shed, or the old hay shed. 4th over the line in Mandalika. Top 5 finishes. It has been an outstanding debut season. So it was like a long time ago, because it is a long time ago, isn't it? 11 years since an Australian won a Moto3 race here on home soil. Jack Miller, I'm sure, will be watching intently to see if it is Joel Kelso that can pick up the baton and be the first Aussie winner here in Phillip Island since 2014. It was some battle that day, wasn't it? Miller, Alex Marquez and Alex Rins, which you podium on that day. Those 3 all jousting in MotoGP coming up later on this afternoon over 27 laps. Green, the flag though has cleared, and about race day 19 about to commence here at Phillip Island, with Kelso on pole for the Aussie fans. It's lights out and we're racing in Moto3 here down under in Australia. Jose Antonio Rueda's been sharp off the line. The new world champion's going to get the drop immediately on pole side of Kelso. Furasato has been dynamite away from 4th place on the grid. He's equal best qualifying of the season. Furasato immediately slots himself up into 2nd place. Lunetta back in 4th. Trying to chop it out now with Furasato on the inside is Kelso as they go to the southern limit. It's the world champion Rueda, who's wide, really wide, and Kelso will see his inside line going through too. Kelso leads his home Grand Prix.
Really good start from Quiles. He's already up into 5th place. Adrian Fernandez had a bit of a shocker. He got really up the line on his Leopard Honda. He's just up behind Carpe. They're 7th and 8th.
Lunetta going a long way around through Stone. That will set him up for the inside line on Furasato into turn 4. But Quiles, you just knew he was going to be ultra aggressive. He's picked up 5 places already as Quiles, 9th to 4th.
Well, looked like Ralston was getting beaten up there on the outside of turn 4. He's dropped back through the field on this first lap. Bit of a punchy first lap, and he's in 12th at the moment, but I think he's going to be further than that when he comes to the next sector. But already Kelso and Rueda looking to put some space between themselves and the chasing group behind.
Lunetta played for Quiles actually. It looked like he was about to take 3rd place on the 58 bike away from Furasato, but with Quiles seizing the inside line going through Miller, that pushed Lunetta from 4th back down to 6th place. Down the hill we go into turn 10 for the first time. Oh, Fernandez coming from a long way back there, wasn't he, on the 31 bike on the Leopard Honda, trying to make up for some early lost ground. Fernandez is now back up into 7th.
Putting a lot of trust in that soft front tyre, wasn't he there, Fernandez? One of the other big losers on this first lap was Bertelli, who started on the 2nd row in 5th. He's already back to 12th place.
Let's get now some Slipstream City as they power down the Gardner straight. They'll all be in top gear on these Moto3 bikes. Kelso with a bit of fresh air directly behind him. He's not going to get slipstream on the run down to the Durham corner. Furusato has got through on Rueda up into second place. Quiles, after a super strong first lap. Oh, Furusato goes in. Was that the tailwind just pushing him into that braking zone? You're going to have to adjust your braking markers here. Was the Netter and Quiles get a little bit busy going through the southern loop?
That was Esteban, I think, that he was getting stuck into there. It's Quiles just up ahead of all that, and Esteban pushed back down the order. Ralston actually did recover. He's back up to 7th place. Really did get the benefit of some slipstream into turn 1.
And there's tries to go the long way around on the outside of Furusato. Going through the southern loop as Ralston picks up the Netter. Beautiful, beautiful move by Fernandez. Set them up on the outside. Furusato going through Stoner corner, put him on the inside line for Miller corner, and Fernandez then up into 4th place from 8th on the grid.
Well, Kelso promised to send it. Ralston's sending it too, now up into the top 6. You can see the top 2 are starting to break clear. This group already splintering at a very early stage in this Grand Prix, and it's very easy to, if you get dropped, it's very difficult to then jump back on with that tailwind.
Kelso now leading for 5 Grand Prix in a row. Can he find himself as Ralston when he is going all in here, isn't he? Jacob Ralston, shop window time for the Aussie, desperately trying to find a ride on the 2026 grid. 13th he started this home Grand Prix. He's now up into the top 5, which would equal his career best, as Fernandez darts on the inside of Quiles into 12th. Oh, that was bold. That was brave, wasn't it, in the extreme for Fernandez? He made it work, and now he's up into P3.
We're already the best part of a second adrift, though. The top 2 exchange fastest laps. Ralston sets the fastest lap for the Grand Prix now on a 35.64. He's sandwiched between Quiles and Furusato, so Quiles comes out of that three-way battle ahead. But Ralston not taking any prisoners, is he? Through Durham corner, Ralston up to 4th now.
I think this is what you call going for broke, isn't it, as far as Ralston's concerned? Very, very soon we might have dream territory for home fans. It could be a fairy tale day this for the Aussie crowd, because we might have very quickly 2 Australians potentially on the podium here in Phillip Island. Still that gap of around 0.3 of a second being managed by Kelso back to Rueda. Carpe this time around sends it on the inside of Furusato as Almanza comes in for his long lap. That's all, of course, courtesy of his Mandalika indiscretion 2 weeks ago. Yeah, Carpe did get Furusato into Miller, who just pushed Carpe up to 6.
Almanza had already lost ground before he even served that long lap penalty, so if you are trying to mitigate that, he hadn't got the right way about it. I have to give a shout out also for the debutant Brian Oriarte, the Red Bull Rookies champion, is up into 13th place on his debut. He's up ahead of his teammate Pini already.
Do you know what? Ralston's going to try and have a look here on the inside of Fernandez down the hill into turn 10. He's going to be close enough to maybe attack. No, Fernandez is just a little bit too good. Going through the hayshed of turn 8, Ralston had the better corner speed, but then as they climbed up through Luke Ice, then dropped down to the blind entry for turn 10, Fernandez just a little bit quicker than the KTM directly behind him. Big gap there now that's emerged between Kelso and Rueda at the front of this Grand Prix, although as you can see, Kelso's healthy advantage of 9.5 a second at the start of this lap has come down quite considerably. Rueda trying to pick up some slipstream here with the tailwind as well, pushing him towards the Durham corner. Carpe's fastest ride on circuit right now with a 1:35.323. Carpe started his Grand Prix 6. That's where he's currently running.
3/10 of a second faster than Kelso was going, but at the moment there is still that second and a big gap between Rueda and Adrian Fernandez. We need to see what Ralston's up to just behind this, as he's looking to attack. One Aussie defending, one Aussie attacking further back, as Kelso now makes his way through Stone Corner with the world champion right on his rear tyre.
Absent without leave so far this weekend, let's care about second in the World Championship. We've seen very little of him in qualifying, in practice, and very little of him so far in this Australian Grand Prix, currently down in 9th place. Only 14 points clear, of course, of Quiles in about of a second in the World Championship.
Ralston's taken Fernandez out of picture. He's just looking out of the window into Miller corner. Ralston up into 3rd place. Fernandez has taken him back, though, into Siberia. And I think Ralston actually might be down the road. Yellow flags are out in Sector 2. And looking into the distance at Siberia, there are yellow flags waving. I fear Jacob Ralston, confirmation on timing screens, has crashed out of his home Grand Prix.
Right, you have got a feeling that he was in win it or bin it mode. That's a real tough one to take. Oh, he's so angry. So frustrated. There was a career best on the upping there as Furusato he picks up Quiles down into turn 10. Fernandez now in a real battle for 3rd place with Carpe as well. Checked out of the front are Kelso and Rueda. Will just check their advantage as they come now out of turn 12. Oh, out of the seat there. Big time out of the seat was for Geras. Oh, he was out of the sea as he got on the gas on the 36 bike coming through turn 12. I've got to be careful because that grass will still be down from some early weekend rain. Big scare that though for Piqueras, put him down to 20th place.
Yeah, he's still not come over the finish line yet. 23rd for Piqueras. It cost him 8 seconds coming out of that final corner. So this is effectively a 2-horse race now for victory in this Australian Grand Prix. The home hero versus the world champion.
That cost Piqueras a new set of underwear as well. That was super scary going through trouble. It might, depending on what happens, cost him second in this World Champs, because that big mistake. Well, now the gap's shrunk from 14 to 5 points between Piqueras and Quiles. We've still got 16 and a half laps remaining here in Phillip Island. It looks like the only man who's going to be able to deny Kelso that first home victory at Moto3 here in 11 long years is going to be the world champion, Rueda.
Yeah, there goes Piqueras sailing off. He lost it quite early around the corner, kept it upright, not just on the track, but also on the gravel, on the wet grass. He then made his way down the main straight, not the optimal route down the Gardner Straight is that. I think one other rider to keep a lookout for in this chase group is Marco Morelli on the MLAV Honda. Just his 5th Grand Prix. The Argentine is going to Aspar next season as a regular in Moto3. He's up into the top 10.
Piqueras had some skill there to stay on 2 wheels, because that was really scary. Further down, we've got Valentin Perrone back up into the point scoring place from 22nd on the grid. Of course, he missed a Mandalika after a real bruising practice crash. Left him out of contention. Now then with some slipstream, we pick up 66 versus 99. This is the closest that Rueda's been potentially to line them and move on Kelso as they dart now down towards the third corner. Side by side we go. Kelso just leaves his braking that a little bit later, but he will know from his pit board he'll hit Rueda's KTM. But the world champion is up for another win here.
They are in a completely different race to everybody else. They exchange personal best, 35 forward.
Low 125s is out of this race now. Poor old Jacob Ralston out early at Siberia. There is a massive gap, isn't there, now between this dominant top 2. Real strong battle, though, isn't there, raging for. All out the likes of Lunetta, Forosato, Quiles, Esteban, Morelli, Vitelli, all still in this big battle.
As I say, Morelli doing an outstanding job, as Lunetta certainly puts plenty of trust in himself and in Forosato there. Oh, taking into the hay shed. 58 takes 72. The 2 Aspar riders are getting side by side. Esteban trying to go around the outside of Quiles. It's all kicking off in this second group. They're all battling for a podium.
Forosato on Quiles now. Those two do not give a quarter, do they? Those two, if there's a pass to be made, if there's a gap to be pushed through, they will take it, and some. Forosato then now just trying to put a bit of daylight between himself and Quiles, and Esteban as well, the 2 Aspar riders just directly behind him. Forosato should get some great slipstream as well there behind the netter. Once again with the slipstream. How good is Kelso on the brakes this time? He has a look to his right hand side because he sees a Rueda's Red Bull KTM Iron Machine, but it's past him in top gear, top speed at the end of that Gardner Straight. And for the first time then, as we start lap 7, lap 6 of 21 it is, Rueda, and that leads this Grand Prix.
So is Kelso now prepared just to sit behind Rueda and have a look at the 99 and see where he's stronger, or is he going to try and attack back straight away? Does he have the performance to attack back straight away? Is Rueda just going to be able to clear up at the front of the field and potentially waltz off into the distance for a 10th win of 2025? There's no question who wants it more in this leading battle, but is Rueda just too good?
Yeah, David Alonso, Valentino Rossi, Fausto Grazini, Marc Marquez and Joan Mir, the only other riders in lightweight world championship history that have had 10 more wins in a single season. More history beckons for Rueda, who has carved his way through the record books throughout this incredible 2025 campaign. There's been a tendency in 2025 when he's hit the front for him just to be able to manage the race perfectly. Only at this stage the Grand Prix, his Kelso looks like capable of giving any kind of a late-on headache. Rueda already 10th and a half clear he is of Kelso through the 3rd split.
Quiles once again with a lunge at the inside of Forosato. Every time he looks to his right, coming through turn 10, he's got an Aspar KTM in the way, either Esteban or Quiles. He's now sandwiched between the pair of them. Quiles 6th and Esteban in 8th.
Kelso too far back, as you can see in the top left of the screen, to think of any obvious slipstream, although there's nothing wrong with the top speed of that level of MTA KTM machine. Is that Kelso's a bit of a pocket rocket himself in terms of physical stature. Closes up onto the rear tire. Not close enough though to seize back the lead behind the top two is this enthralling, pulsating battle, which is now back in the hands of Adrian Fernandez on a 31-layer part under, albeit briefly as Carpe drops across his nose. They move into the southern loop.
They're all doing low 36s, as are Rueda and Kelso now. Of course, Rueda was busy overtaking on that last lap. We saw him drop a place. This is the battle in the tail end of the points. This is the Almatza-Buchanan group, 11, 12 backwards as we pick up this podium battle once again. There's a variety of lines to take it. It's Lunetta on the inside of Fernandez, and Esteban once again rides around the outside of his teammate Quiles.
Rueda made that move at the end of Gardner Straight a couple of laps ago. Kelso had a good long look to his right. Now, was Kelso just happy and content to let Rueda have the advantage, have the lead? Look at you, Jose Antonio. You had a good look at my rear tyre for 6-7 laps. So now let's see what you've got at the front of this Grand Prix. Quiles and Esteban have to briefly check up there, going through turn 7 and 8, high-speed section around Phillip Island.
Well, Esteban, of course, was a regular with Aspar on this grid last year. Perhaps came a little bit too early in his career. He's been back in the Junior GP World Championship this season, but proving here this weekend there's a super sub in place of Dennis Foggia. That the 78 still has plenty to offer as a Moto3 Grand Prix rider. Here is Almanza, who of course is recovering from his long lap penalty and potentially could jump back on to this podium battle.
Got through loosely on Nepran Buchanan. As close to home Grand Prix this is going to be for the Kiwi Buchanan. Of course, his first points in 9 Grand Prix since the Sachsenring. Buchanan in an excellent 13th place at the moment. Scott Ogden just behind him as they fan out 4-5 abreast into scary braking zone into the Doohan corner. Fernandez then has got himself back up into the head of this second group. Rueda cannot shake off Kelso there. You can still keep your eye on those lead two in the top left hand corner of your screens. Some battle this, isn't it? Edge of the seat battle for the final place on the podium. This goes all the way down from Fernandez to Morelli in 10th spot.
We've got 2 Hondas at the front of this group, then a bunch of KTMs behind. Forsato on his Honda as Jacob Ralston returns to the box, greeted by team and by family. Understandably gutted, but demonstrated in the time he was in this Grand Prix just what a fine talent he is when everything is working in the right direction. Such a shame that it ended the way it did.
Right here at Siberia, he went down fighting. He knew he was going to go all in for the podium, maybe even better. He looked like out of the chasing group. If anybody could run the pace of Rueda and Kelso at the front, it was Ralston before he bit the dust. Fernandez then. Oh, Netta on the 58 bike there. How close was that going through 8 and then 9? It's the 83 of Carpe that's in defence mode right now.
Yeah, Lunetta was wide. Once again, look at Esteban just riding around the outside of his teammate. Once again, didn't quite work out for him on that occasion, but Lunetta was wide through the hay shed. That puts him on a really tight inside line through Buki Heights, loses all of his corner speed, and saw Carpe in that particular instance ride right around the outside of it.
That's Rueda's biggest advantage we've seen over the line. 3/10 of a second that was. A 35.5 from Rueda on lap 9 as opposed to a 35.7 from Kelso. In this epic fight for third, it's still Fernandez. Carpe there. Forasato's getting a little bit beaten up. Of course, it was Quiles who was putting some manners on Forasato into the Doohan corner. Through the southern loop we go then. Carpe. We haven't seen Carpe at the sharp end of a Grand Prix for quite some time, have we? Carpe. Brakes going into the Miller corner, so once again Fernandez and Carpe at the front of that second group, that big dogfight for third. They've exchanged overtakes already a couple of times on this current lap. Rueda looking so cool, so calm, so collected, he so often does. The inside line now only for the left-hander of turn 11. Oh, well, Esteban, what a standing he's been so far this weekend for Dennis Foggia.
Inspired by Jorge Lorenzo, clearly he prefers the Popuera move, doesn't he? Around the outside, now right on the tail of his teammate once again as the Aspar duo continue to watch each other. Forasato wants a piece of it and wants to come back through. This is 6th, 7th and 8th, the 28, the 78 and the 72. Battle partway back through this group. This time though, Fernandez clear into Doohan corner. Can he hold it on line this time and keep the lead? This time he goes slightly wide again, and is Carpe going to sweep around the outside? Not on this occasion.
Great shot there of the lead two of Kelso. having a massive hole punched in the air ahead of him by Rueda's KTM. No protection whatsoever ahead of Rueda. He was exposed to the gusting winds off the nearby Bass Strait. You could just see how much Kelso was able to close right up on the rear tyre of Rueda. 135.6 from Kelso on occasion as Fernandez and Carpe get busy once again going into that turn 3. As good as Carpe is going through 1 and 2, Fernandez has certainly got his measure on the brakes going into that turn 4. Fernandez picks up P3 again.
I wasn't convinced that Honda was stopping the 31 of Fernandez, but he did get it stopped into Miller corner. So he regains 3rd place, because it was a podium finish, or it would have been a podium finish. Potentially better last weekend, and he not collided with that in Munoz, but it was a performance that was good enough to secure himself a place with Leopard Honda for next season, where he will be joined by Guido Pini. Pini is further back down the field. He's had a tough afternoon, 16th.
Quiles, beautiful on the inside of Lunetta. Made that look so easy, did Quiles. Down the hill, on the brake, so easy to wash the front out there when you're squeezing a handful of front brake. Yeah, just... in that nasty collision with Adrian Fernandez last time out over in Manlica. Esteban now has got himself up. Elbow. 0.3 of a second.
But you look at this second group, Vatelli on the other level of MTA. KTM is also in the thick of this battle. Once again, though, Fernandez just can't hold it tight through Doohan corner, just sails wide onto the curb on the outside, which gives Carpe the run on him into Southern Loop. But surely Fernandez is coming straight back through into Miller.
Potentially back-to-back points going finish for Eddie O'Shea. Quiles on the inside. He saw Fernandez picking up Carpe. That's Fernandez's favoured move into that turn 4. And with wide open tarmac ahead of him, Quiles took the pair of them. Payback coming immediately from Carpe on Fernandez into Siberia. Some fight this has been as to the 3rd place so far. At the moment, it's advantage Quiles, and crucially, it will move him, if it stays as is, into 2nd place in the World Championship with Figueras. Stuck down a lonely 20th.
Yeah, unlikely to get himself into the points from there. He's some 7 seconds off the back of Peroni, 19th and 20th. This was Quiles just taking advantage. He's seen this movie already into turn 4. He's seen on a number of occasions Fernandez and Carpe go side by side and said, hey, I fancy a piece of this. I'm going to pass both of you. Top left of screen, you can follow the top 2. Rueda's lead in danger, opening up to around half a second here as Fernandez and Carpe battle, although this time it's for P4.
Beautiful move once again into 12 and 4. Fernandez has been absolutely unreal. Into the slipstream we go. Quiles starts to the right-hand side of the circuit to try and break this crew behind him. Look at Lunetta with a 3 or 4 bike slipstream. Eases up into, well, ahead of Furusato and ahead of Carpe. Lunetta then now, as they attack through turn 2, the Southern Loop. Carpe just leans on his outside, going through this long radius. 2nd corner, getting a little bit pushed out to the plane, where there goes Esteban, who seems to favour some unconventional lines, I think it's fair to say, around this Phillip Island circuit.
Yeah, look at the creativity of Joel Esteban. It's certainly making him an entertaining rider to watch in this Grand Prix. He's on the outside now, as we come into the Miller corner, who's around the outside of Alvaro Carpe. Look at Lunetta, Esteban fearless in this Grand Prix.
I'll tell you what, Carpe was almost out of control there going into 4. Picks up Lunetta, now they're going through Siberia. He was so late on the brakes there, was Carpe on the HD bike. He has a bit of a shake of his head there. I think he just said, well, this is looking a little bit too messy, a little bit too scrappy. Alman's dragged himself back into podium contention. Of course, he dropped, but he started this Grand Prix in 18th, dropped back to 21st, having served his long lap penalty after Mandalika. And some recovery this has been from Alman. Don't rule out the 22 Leopard Honda.
Yep, so 2 Leopard Hondas in the middle of this battle. The Honda of Morelli's now dropped out of it. You can see him just in the back of the picture. He's now reversing back towards Nepper and Buchanan. That's 11th, 12th and 13th. So this group, 3rd, all the way back to Vatelli in 10th. 8 riders battling for one final spot on the podium. 10 seconds behind the top 2.
After becoming the 18th Italian to finish on the podium number 3 last time out. It's been a horror show so far for Pini. He stuck right down the back end of the points scoring places. Esteban then briefly up into the top 6 on the 78 bike. Just at the back of this a big battle as well is Vatelli, who's worked his way back into contention. 5th on the grid, Vatelli started. He dropped out of early contention very early on with a bit of a sluggish start. Road by well over 10 seconds are Rueda and Kelso. Still nothing between those two. Less than a quarter of a second over the line. 135.8 those two both exchange. Quiles with some serious corner speed going through the Stoner corner. Can he attack Fernandez on the brakes into the Miller corner? No, this is where Fernandez has been so good. Carpe, they'll say thank you very much. He picks up Fernandez, and darting through also goes Quiles.
For Asato, Almansa, I think it was Lunetta further back. They were also dishing out haymakers to each other. They were battling 3 wide into turn 4 as well for 5th, 6th and 7th. So we're keeping an eye on everyone in this leading group. There is so much to try and keep on top of. Esteban certainly showed some bravery there and putting Lunetta in a position he didn't want to be through the hay shed.
Just 1.4 seconds further back between in the gap of, well, the battle between Morelli, Nepa, Buchanan, Ogden, Tini and O'Shea. Nicola Carrara also in 17th place, still in contention for points potentially in this Australian Grand Prix. Once again, we'll just follow the top 2 as they power out of turn 12. Josh just cannot get close enough, can he, to really seize on the slipstream advantage he will have behind Rueda. Rueda over the line. That's the 3rd lap in a row now. They're both in the exact same times, 35.6. 35.8 in the last lap, and now they've both done 35.9. Absolutely nothing at all between the pace of this top 2, but it's still Rueda at the front.
And they're on the exact same tyre combinations, both of them on the SC2 front and rear Pirelli, so there's no tyre advantage for either of the two in this leading group. At the end of this lap, lap 15 of 21, we will have gone through the 3/4 cut-off where a race will be declared should we get a red flag. Of course, that became rather significant in Indonesia a couple of weeks ago.
Not been too many people that have run Rueda close when he's been at the front of the Grand Prix for such a long period of time. Turn 4, of course it's turn 4. Miller corner where Fernandez makes yet another killer move on the inside of Carpe. Well, he has been lethal, hasn't he, on the brakes into that 4th corner as the 31 Leopard Honda. So once again, it's Fernandez that forced himself back to the head of this 2nd group. Still right in the mix, Carpe, Furusato, Quiles, Esteban, Almansa from a long way back. Well, so far back, he was outside the top 20 after his long lap.
Well, Almansa's found that catching this group was one thing, but getting through it is another, as Carpe's trying to go around the outside, up and over Luki Heights. Would give him the inside line if he was close enough on Fernandez, but he wasn't. If anything, he's under pressure. Once again, it's Aspar versus Aspar. This time, Esteban going the conventional inside line on Quiles.
Well, around the outside didn't work, so he might as well try the only other option. That's too far on the inside of Quiles, and this time around, it did work. Further down, the 2 Brits, Ogden and O'Shea, 14th and 15th respectively. Over at the line we go then. It is Rueda, 36.1 that last lap from Rueda. Kelso still in the 35s. Kelso, the only rider actually out on circuit in the 35s, helped by the slipstream behind Rueda. But Kelso, this is game on, isn't it? This is very much game on for the home win.
Rueda looking to play the role of party pooper in Phillip Island this afternoon. You don't become a world champion if you have any sentiment. He's not going to be letting anybody have this. He is a serial Moto3 winner. That's why he's world champion with 4 races still to spare. The 99 might not want this quite as much as Kelso, but he is addicted to winning.
Just getting a little bit beaten up at the moment in this battle. Although, having said that, he beats up Lunetta on the brakes. All this contact there further back between Esteban and Almansa. 22 versus 78 into the Miller corner. Almansa's trying to tough it out now with Batelli as well. We know he doesn't lack aggression at Almansa. The reason he was in the long lap, he took out a couple of rides last time out in Manlica. This then has put Esteban down from 6th to 9th.
The hay shed they go then, and up and over Luki Heights. This trio at the back need to make sure they don't get detached here from this podium group while they're busy watching each other. Of course, trading some paint on their bikes through Miller corner. Esteban again with the lunge into turn 10. So this is the battle to trail this group. That's 8th, 9th and 10th.
This is about to be now 5 of the biggest laps of Joel Kelso's career. Around 20 kilometres he is away from a fairy tale, from a dream coming true. Once again with the slipstream, you could just see how much he's able to close on Rueda on the brakes through that fast, high-speed right-hander of the Doohan corner. What is going through the mind of Kelso right now? He spent a long time on Rueda's tail here. He'd have seen exactly the strengths and weaknesses of the world champion ahead of him. When, if he can, will Kelso feel he could pick his moment?
In some respects, the pressure is on Kelso in this group because Jose Antonio Rueda released all the pressure by winning the World Championship last time out in Indonesia. So he's just racing for the fun of it in these final 4 Grand Prix. Kelso, one of the things he'll be trying to compute in his mind in these final laps while he's behind Rueda is, can he out-track him on the run to the finish line out of the final corner, and dare he leave it that late?
He's been a master tactician, hasn't he, all throughout 2025. That has Rueda. He's been count on one hand the amount of bad calls he's made in Grand Prix so far this season. Eddie O'Shea's having a real strong lap. He's gone up from 15th up into 12th place. Top job by the MLAV Racing rider. He's now got Buchanan, Bolton and Neffert behind. That will be a career best up for O'Shea.
Carpe's got a bit of space now behind himself in 3rd place. Quiles has thrown himself to the front of this group, starting the lap in 6th. He's now 4th. Fernandez back in 5th place. Esteban once again, you guessed it, ran the outside of Luca Lunetta, who's not having that one into 10. So Esteban stays back in 7th place. But is Carpe making a bit of a bid for freedom in these final 5 laps now?
The way that looks like a significant advantage it is, that feels like it could be a huge lap 17 that's just been fired in by Rueda. A 1:35.982. It's back in the 35s. That's some lap time as well. You think he's got nobody ahead of him punching air or punching a hole in the air on the Gardner Straight. 36.2 was from Kelso. The gap 3.5 tenths of a second. That's the biggest gap there's been between Rueda and Kelso.
Kelso's closely right up though in this first sector. I've been watching through that helicopter shot top right for a few laps now. Kelso is superb through Doing corner first one, turn 1 closes a lot of that advantage right back up again. As they now come past our cover towards window into Miller, he's right on the rear tyre of Rueda again.
Carpe looks like he might be aiming for a decisive breakaway here in that fight for 3rd. His tyre wear just starting to become a bit of a factor here late on. Carpe's got about the biggest breather he's had in his entire Grand Prix in that second group. He came over the line almost 0.6 of a second clear of Fernandez, who was then his closest rival. As you can see, Fernandez has been pushed back now down to 6th place.
Well, Fernandez and Quiles are the 2 in this group who've got a harder rear tyre on. Doesn't appear to be giving them any sort of payback at the moment. Not a lot of time for it to pay them back, with just 3.5 laps to go. Carpe's advantage as we go through the second sector. 3/4 of a second now over Quiles. It's been quite a while since we've seen Carpe on a Grand Prix podium. Mugello, in fact.
Going through turn 12, Rueda's so good in this final sector. He's absolutely phenomenal in the final sector. Kelso just cannot get anywhere near him. Going through 11 and 12, the 2 fast left-handers that complete this circuit. This is a big conundrum. This is a big puzzle that Kelso's going to try and work out here then, with 3 laps to go. 3 laps between Kelso and the finest hour of his Grand Prix career. It's been 11 long years since Moto3 victor has come from a home rider here in Phillip Island. Kelso, though, is able to pick up that slipstream to close in on Rueda into the Doing corner. But Rueda standing firm, as you know he would do. He very seldom clacks in these high-pressure situations.
Purely the slipstream that's keeping Kelso in this, because he's always on the main straight and through turn 1. And he closes back in on Rueda. He's quick enough to stay with the world champion, but is he quick enough to attack him? He said he's going to send it. You've got 2.5 more laps, Joel, to send it.
Now or never. Kelso is never going to have a bigger and better opportunity to break his world championship winning duck. And as mentioned before the Grand Prix, no better place to do it. He could not have dreamt of a situation where maybe his first Grand Prix success came in front of his home crowd here at the iconic, the classic Phillip Island circuit. 0.3 of a second, Rueda built his lead halfway around this lap 19 of 21. It's still very heated battle waiting for 3rd place. Furasako trying to go on the inside of Fernandez. That's going to be brave on the inside, going through 8 and 9, almost out of the car park. Almost his way back to Melbourne Airport was Joel Esteban going through Lukey Heights.
Looks like Quiles is closing this down. He is on this. The 3rd lap from the finish of this Grand Prix. Just 2 to go when they'll come across the line now. So Carpe hasn't got his 3rd place secured just yet. Rueda does a 36.0. Kelso 36.1. Kelso's not exactly doing slow lap times, but it's just not quite fast enough. Penultimate lap starts.
Rueda is just too good. He is just too good, too fast in that vital 4th split. He's just able to break the toe. He's able to break the slipstream from Kelso. Just no chance at all for the Aussie to try and attack him on the brakes into the Doing corner. Carpe looks like he might have this one covered off the 3rd place. He's going to have to do some late heroics from those behind him, including Quiles, Lunetta and Fernandez. And while those lot continue to duff each other up, this is just playing into the hands right now of Carpe. Looks like Quiles might be the only rider that's got something to offer Carpe late on.
He's in the fourth sector of his life as Kelso on this lap. He needs to be glued to the rear tyre of Rueda when they come out of the final corner as Esteban gets up on the inside of Adrian Fernandez. He's now up into fifth place, another couple of positions, and Esteban might be on the podium for the first time.
Yeah, his career best was a fourth in Le Mans, so one more position and Esteban will be equaling his career best, showing potentially, well, I feel like I should be still a full-time rider on this Moto3 World Championship grid. Kelso, as they now drop down into turn 10. This is where Rueda has been mustered on that Red Bull KTM machine. Kelso has not got the legs in sector 4. He's not close enough. He's nowhere near close enough. In fact, he's losing ground. Rueda through 11 and 12. It's those two corners that are going to decide this Australian Grand Prix.
Final lap begins then, and Kelso's not in a position to pick up any sort of slipstream. We are watching a world champion doing world champion things. Rueda back in the 35s on the last lap, a 35.7. Kelso's in the 35s too, but it's not quite enough.
Kelso really is digging deep. He's digging so deep. Desperate, isn't he? For an Australian Grand Prix victory. This one is not over yet. He's been putting so much pressure on Rueda, who just has refused to buckle at the front of this Grand Prix. Here we go, and there's an overtaking off spot going for Kelso. Not going to be close, busy to attack Rueda into the middle corner. He is running out of time. He's running out of corners.
One remaining opportunity, I think, is into turn 10, the downhill plunge as you go over Mookie Heights, but he's not close enough. And I fear that even if he does get ahead of Rueda might just slipstream and pass it to the line.
Still a massive day. Still a memorable day as far as Joel Kelso's concerned. A home podium. He's been here before. This is not his first rodeo in Australia. This one looks like it's over. 0.6 of a second. Rueda leads halfway through this final lap. That is his biggest advantage of the whole Grand Prix. Kelso looks like he's fought an incredible fight, but it looks like he might just come up short in terms of victory. It's going to be a brilliant home podium though for the Aussie.
And they're in the final sector now. They're just through turn 10, top of your screens. Carpe coming under some late pressure from a pair of Aspar riders in that battle for the final podium spot.
This is a big crash. Esteban on course for a career best 4th place, looking for bragging rights in CF Moto. Aspar fires through on Quiles. Out of the final corner we go then. It's the world champion in 2025, Jose Antonio Rueda, who gate crashes Joel Kelso's home Grand Prix party. But Rueda takes his 10th win of the season. Kelso is second. Esteban trying to get some slipstream behind Garfe. Garfe does just about hang on for the final place on the podium. Esteban, Quiles, Adrian Fernandez and Tayo Furusato, 4th, 5th, 6th and 8th respectively, all set their best laps of the Grand Prix on that 21st and final lap. Quiles then takes a 5th and just missed out on the opportunity to pinch second in the World Championship away from the Carabas. It's once again another double podium for Red Bull KTM IO. So many great stories in that Australian Grand Prix in Moto3. Jose Antonio Rueda wins for the 3rd Grand Prix in the last 4. That's the key reason why he, of course, is the world champion. And we're going to get the T-shirts, aren't we, for Red Bull KTM IO. It's phenomenal. What a performance. Kelso pushed and pushed and pushed, but he just could not force a mistake out of Jose Antonio Rueda, who does become just the 6th rider in lightweight world championship history to have 10 or more wins in a single season. Listen to some of the names he joins: Alonso, Rossi, Grazini, Marc Marquez and Juan Mir. That's a pretty exclusive club. He might have broken some home hearts. Take nothing away from Kelso. He put up a rousing fight for 2nd place. He does indeed take second in front of his home crowd. A 2nd home podium for Kelso. And Carpe, where has he been the last few Grand Prix? Back on form and back on the podium.
Those T-shirts are Red Bull KTM IO signify that they are the team's champions in 2025. And you can see it then on the pitboard too. So a triple crown complete for that squad. Rueda the riders champion, KTM the constructors champions and unbeaten this season, and Red Bull KTM IO the team's champions. What a good fight though Joel Kelso put up, powered on by all of Australia. ET calls his career best in 2nd place. Alessandro Tanucci from MTAs with Jack.
Alessandro, your man gave everything there. So much to be proud of. What are the emotions like at the end of it?
That's so great, but in the end you deserved it, but Rueda is so strong. But we're really happy and tonight we celebrate.
I can imagine. Congrats.
Thanks.
Well, it's 12:38 p.m. local time here in Australia. I think it's going to be 12:39, and those celebrations are going to be well and truly in full swing as far as Kelso and co are concerned. Yeah, the Aussie fans are on their feet. What a great show that was from Joel Kelso. 5th Grand Prix in a row that he has led. He's made the front running. You have to say, it's that race followed a familiar pattern in 2025. Jose Antonio Rueda just simply gave the star performer. How good was Rueda in that Grand Prix? Steps before, in particular turns 11 and 12, but Kelso must have known that his heart must have been sinking at times, knowing that Rueda just had the edge on him, just had that little bit of an advantage where Kelso was not able to get close enough to use the slipstream. Podium note number 5 of his World Championship career for the 22-year-old from Darwin. It's been a great weekend for Kelso. He led practice yesterday morning, after on pole position, first Aussie to do so, Moto3 Grand Prix, and so close. Less than a second, just over 0.8 of a second from that elusive first victory.
I'm sure it is bittersweet to some extent, but there is absolutely no shame in being beaten by Jose Antonio Rueda in the form that he's in 2025. Absolutely no signs of him slacking off after clinching the World Championship last time out. And congratulations to Red Bull KTM Io in their first season run by Nicky Io. They are the team champions. Nicky's with Jack.
Yeah, riders world champions, now teams world champions, and what a way to do it, Nicky, as well. Jose Antonio, incredible again, but I imagine Alvaro getting back onto the podium means a lot after a difficult period.
I think the biggest joy today is Alvaro back on the podium. He had a very hard time lately, and already in Indonesia he showed that he's back in the front, but unfortunately there was crushed by the others. So of course in general it's great to get the team championship, but I think the biggest joy today is Alvaro. Congrats.
His first podium in 10 Grand Prix. It has been worth the wait. He took it by just 0.05 of a second over the absolutely superb Joel Esteban, equaling his career best in 4th, inching that 4th place by just 0.07 of a second away from Quiles. He is now further. He wasn't just in the World Championship. That gap 14 it was, the deficit between himself and Becker. That's come down to just 3 points with 3 to go in 2025. There's no celebration, started at 12:39 p.m. local time here in Australia. One of the rides of the race, without any question, was Almanza, 18th on the grid, served his long lap penalty, got the 21st, was 9th at the checkered flag, only 1.3 seconds off the podium behind Carpe. Letta from the front row finishes 7th. Rosato from 4th on the grid, his equal best starting position was 8th. Great sportsmanship, as mentioned. The 6th ride in Moto3 history, or in lightweight World Championship history, to win 10 races in the same season. Just look at that list. Fausto Gresini, Valentino Rossi, Marc Marquez, Joan Mir, of course, in 2017, and most recently the record a number of victories for last year, 14 set by David Alonso. Unfortunately, Rueda will just fall short in that tally if he does indeed win the last 3 Grand Prix, which you would not put past him.
As I said to Rueda there, you didn't even need it. You're the world champion, but Jose Antonio Rueda, every Grand Prix, anything he competes in, that's why the best are the best, is they want to win at absolutely everything. And as mentioned a moment ago, absolutely no sign of Jose Antonio Rueda's standards dropping after winning the World Championship.
Yeah, the burden of pressure released off the shoulders of Rueda. He was supreme at handling the pressure of trying to capture the World Championship, wasn't he? Over the last 3 or 4 Grand Prix, as he edged ever closer to being that 9th Spaniard to capture Moto3 crown. Here he is then, back on the podium for the first time in 10 Grand Prix. What a ride that was by Alvaro Carpe. 3rd place in that Phillip Island Classic, and he's with Jack.
Alvaro, it's been a difficult period, but to get back onto the podium after 10 Grand Prix and do it in a battle like that, just how much does this mean?
Yeah, I'm very happy for this because finally I'm back on the podium on the front group, and yeah, I'm very happy because of this podium on this circuit that I love this circuit. I enjoy every corner. I enjoy because it's a fantastic circuit. I like too much this track. Also, many fans here. Thank you all for come to the track to cheer. And yeah, about the race, I'm very happy because it was very difficult with the battle with Giles and Fernandez. Was they both was battling me very hard, and they didn't let me do my pace. But when they give me like a few meters, I push 100%, giving all my pace, giving my 100% on the track. Very happy because we work very well with all the team, with my crew chief, with all the teams. I have to say thanks to all of them because they in all the races that I didn't in the front group. They believe in me, they push me, and this is, I think, experience for the next year. Thank you for all the team, for my family that they wake up to see me, and all my friends, all the people who support me. Thank you too much. I hope to be more on the podium.
Great ride, well done.
Thank you.
It was certainly worth the Carpe clan waking up in the early hours back in Europe to see Alvaro back on the podium. Fair to say by the sounds of it, he's the latest member of the Phillip Island fan club, his first visit to this magnificent Australian Grand Prix venue. And he made it a memorable one, didn't he? First podium since Mugello, fourth career podium for Carpe. Of course, started 2025 on the box. Red Bull KTM 1-2 in Burram behind his teammate Jose Antonio Rueda. In the brilliant backup of Carpe with a Team Red Bull KTM counter to the Team World Championship. Well, he said to Jack on the grid he was going to send it. He certainly did send it. Second place from pole position for the home hero, Joel Kelso. Who's the Jag?
Joel, you gave it absolutely everything today, and you put a lot of smiles on a lot of faces here at Phillip Island. Just how close was that victory? What are the emotions like at the end of it all?
I tried my absolute best. I squeezed everything I could out of it. I was saving the tyre as much as possible. As soon as Raider wanted to go in front, I said, go for it, mate. I'm going to try to save the tyre. But he's too good, man. Yeah, I can't do it. Just saving the tyre, he's so good at it. And last lap, he did like a 5.7 or something, 5.6. I didn't have any of that. 5.90 million. That was a bit. I tried to pull it through for the Aussie crowd, but well, best we could do today was second. I just want to thank everyone once again for coming out and supporting me. It's so cool to see all my merchandise. Everyone, all the Aussie flags out there cheering me on, and yeah, let's enjoy Sunday night then.
So much to be proud of. Well done, Joel.
Cheers, hey, man.
Yeah, fantastic performance that by Joel Kelso. We'll get the apology out very quickly, as we have done. But yeah, Joel Kelso, as he said, and as we have said so often in 2025, Jose Antonio Rueda just too good. He has been the star performer, hasn't he? Right from the get-go, when rowing Burram to kick off the season, then the victory in that opening Grand Prix. But Kelso, what a fight he did put up. Brilliant performance by Kelso. Second this season already in Austin, second in Le Mans. And unfortunately, just coming up short here in Phillip Island. But what a start to his reign as 2025 Moto3 World Champion. He's victorious for the 10th time this season. Jose Antonio Rueda with Jack.
Jose Antonio, that's victory number 10 for 2025. Joel just said you were simply too good. How do you keep on doing it?
Yeah, well, this ride is amazing. I enjoy every lap. It's simply lovely, and yeah, I want to say thanks for the team for the work of the weekend, and also congratulations for my teammate Carpe, because I'm very happy to hear. I'm very proud to be again involved in the podium. So yeah, we need to enjoy today with everybody, because also we are team world champions. So yeah, I'm very happy, and I want to enjoy with all team and all of that. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, another phenomenal performance by Jose Antonio Rueda. It wasn't easy, was it? But he certainly made it look easy. As he crosses the line then for win number 10, winning margin 0.829 of a second. Race of their own, Rueda and Kelso. There was a massive gap. 11.8 seconds. Carpe finished behind Kelso. The Dream 2025 then continues to Red Bull KTM as they are crowned Team World Champions. Was it ever really in any doubt after they took a 1-2 in the opening Grand Prix of the season an early march in Buriram. Akio and Akio, of course, father and son, do so much to nurture and develop young talent through the Red Bull KTM system. Another couple of gems on the books there, haven't they? We know Rueda will be in Red Bull KTM colours in Moto2 next year. Well, that pressure's been building on Figueras, the second in the World Championship for a good number of Grand Prix now, and that pressure builds even further. No podium now in the last 4 for Figueras since his brilliant victory in Catalonia, and that's why that advantage over Kiles in the fight for second in the championship was shrunk to just 3 points with 3 rounds to go.
Right, Borsato, you saw there, he drew one of the short straws in that mega battle from 3rd back to 10th. Borsato was just over a second away from the podium. That was only good enough for P8 in the end from the second row of the grid. Borsato now 10th in the World Championship. It's a 2-horse race now for runner-up in the World Championship. Keras versus Kiles, with Munoz, of course, injured with that fractured femur. Also, and Carpe looks now as if they're in a battle to try and pass Munoz for 4th in the World Championship in the final 3 races.
Gives you a perfect indicator of just how sort of harsh that tailwind is, blowing the riders down at the Gardner Straight. Those flags being puppeted to the right, which is exactly where the nearby fast straight sits as the Australian Grand Prix Moto3 podium celebrations get underway.
It's a party to end all parties for Red Bull KTM team champions, both riders on the podium today. First time since Mugello for Alvaro Carpe, but a second Aussie GP podium in 3 years for Joel Kelso. 3rd a couple of years ago, 2nd today, but ultimately second best to the very best in Moto3 in 2025. 10 victories now for Jose Antonio Rueda and counting. Congratulations to Red Bull KTM serial Moto3 winners, teams champions once again. Alvaro Carpe, who had the purple patch at the beginning of the season, but his podium run ran a little dry. Beautiful trophies here in Phillip Island a lot. Podium finish number 4 of the season for him now. Joel Kelso, also podium number 4 of the season. He is the toast of Phillip Island. Part 1 of their 3-pronged attack on the podium. Well, Kelso did his bit. Ultimately, though, just not quite enough. Jose Antonio Rueda underlining why he is the world champion today.
Joel Kelso did his home fans crowd here in Phillip Island, but once again, just as he has done in 9 previous Grand Prix in 2025, it's Rueda that rules supreme. His winning tally through this incredible World Championship winning campaign into double figures, a double podium for Red Bull KTM as they clinch yet another Moto3 championship. Battle for second in the standings. Well, that looks like it could go all the way down to the wire in Valencia, doesn't it? As Angel Figueras and Max Kiles are split by just 3 points. Kelso is going to do the Jack Miller celebration. He's got a boot for the Prosecco, and we might get a double showy here because Jose Antonio Rueda is also getting in on the act. Well, here we go, the top 2 in the Australian Grand Prix. Very special celebrations. There we go. Kelso with the shoey. Jose Antonio Rueda with the shoey as well. Brilliant scenes on the podium there. I'm so sure how good that Prosecco will be tasting out of a sweaty boot after 21 laps around the Phillip Island circuit. course, Aussie fans then. One podium in Moto3. Still got big contenders in our two remaining Grand Prix with Senna Aegis and Jack Miller on the front row of the grid in Moto2 and in MotoGP. Kelso from pole then was his career best finish. It's Jose Antonio Rueda proving unstoppable once again. Moto3.
It was a two-horse race for the world champion, too strong. Rueda from Kelso, Carpe winning that extraordinary battle behind for third. And as well, Esteban, who equals his best Moto3 result in fourth, beating his teammate Max Quiles on the final lap. Outside the top 10, we saw Colin Buchanan score points for the first time since the summer break. And the closest thing he has to a home Grand Prix in 11. Eddie O'Shea, well, he threatened a career best result, but he was shuffled out of the points in that close battle. Look how close he was to the top 11. He finishes in 16th. 19th on debut for Brian Uriarte. Jacob Woolston could have potentially been in that gap between second and third. Fortunately, though, when he was in that battle for P3, he crashed at Siberia. So Jose Antonio Rueda, world champion. Angel Piqueras, now not at all certain to be runner-up. His advantage over Max Quiles after he failed to score today is just 3 points. David Munoz, we don't expect to score again this season, which means that Joel Kelso and Alvaro Carpe, second and third today, both taking advantage as they look to move themselves into the top 4 overall. KTM remain unbeaten. Of course, they have long since clinched the Constructors' crown. Congratulations to Red Bull KTM IO. They are the team's champions once more in Moto3. Aspire with 4th and 5th today, close in on MSI in the battle for second place. So much was expected of the 66. Joel Kelso did not let them down. Rueda signals his intentions from the front row of the grid. Immediately goes side by side with Kelso. Corsato looking to get in on the action. Strong start from row 2. So Rueda goes wide into the southern loop, into around the opening lap. That allowed Kelso into the lead as the top 2 immediately clear. Quiles, Fernandez, Carpe and others involved in that chase group, which grew further and further distance behind the leading pair. Sato busy, he was offered in an Aspar sandwich in that Grand Prix. Piqueras took himself out of the chase group. He went wide coming out of the final corner. Sadly for the Australian fans, one of their hopefuls crashed out moments earlier, with Woolston falling out of a podium position. It proved to be the decisive overtake, didn't it, as Rueda moved through on the Gardner straight. So went into tyre saving mode, but ultimately didn't have anything left for a late attack. And in the game in this second group, ultimately was settled in the favour of Carpe. Kelso had to settle for a brave second place at his own Grand Prix. But the world champion doing world champion things. Jose Antonio Rueda, as Joel Kelso very eloquently put himself, just too good. Rueda notches up a 10th victory of 2025. Red Bull KTM IOV teams champions. Rueda, Moto2 ban next year, with potentially some records to break in the final 3 rounds of 2025. We'll begin our build-up to the Moto2 battle here, which also has plenty of Aussie interest in a couple of minutes' time.